human body, outside the human body. Okay, everywhere, wherever we go, okay. So everywhere we see these types of flows, fluid flows. Say, for example, traffic flow is also a kind of fluid flow problem at a large time scale. Okay. For example, granular flows. Okay, those are happen in fluidized bed combustion devices, uh, okay, power plant, thermal power plants. So in those cases, these flows uh, can be studied by using fluid dynamics, and that too using computers. Okay. So we see that it is needed in every part of the repair. Or when do we do the fluid dynamics as such. So once we do fluid dynamics analysis or computation fluid dynamics analysis, we wanted to know what are the forces coming on the structures, on the maybe suppose you are studying the problem on how much drag a bicycler gets. So there you could know what are the forces acting on, like drag forces, those are acting on the human being, for example. So, like some of these forces, you can calculate moments, heat transfer rates. For example, you wanted to have a heat sink, so you would like to have a high heat transfer rates from the heat sinks to the atmosphere. So we would like to know how much heat transfer rate is being taken place, how much mass transfer rate is being taken in some other cases. For example, you have a discharge of some chemicals in the atmosphere. So how much time it will take for the harmful gases to reach a particular part of the city? If such a problem has to be solved, then you have to know how much mass transfer rate is happening. Rate means at particular time instances, how much rate is being transferred. So you can know that how much total time will take to transfer that particular amount of mass to particular location. Okay. And to know these forces, moments, heat transfer rates, and mass transfer rates, we need to know the certain primitive variables. What are those primitive variables? Those primitive variables are velocities, u component velocity, v component, y component of the velocity that is represented by v, then g component of the velocity that is represented by w, and other variables such as pressure, density, temperature, mass fraction. Okay. So many such parameters, which is now called as a flow field. Okay, it's a field of flows having all these properties, all these variables associated with that field. So you can say field means the way like you say the general word field. So field made up of flows, flows of velocity, flows of temperatures, flows of the any other variable you can name. Electric potential, for example, you can that also comes under that. Now, when okay, what's the reason? It was clear in the beginning.
Your, your volume is low, sir.
Okay. It says 98%. Is it clear now? I'll have to put it very closer.
Yes, sir. Now it's clear and audible.
Yeah, I think I'll have to put it very close to myself. That is the reason. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what is the basic purpose of the fluid dynamics analysis was to know the forces, moments, okay, and the heat transfer rates, mass transfer rates, and the flow fields, so as to calculate all these force calculation, so that we can design, modify the system, or do some engineering design. We can do some engineering design. So. Says, for example, you have a room. Just make it a 3D room, for example. So suppose we have a room like this, and there is some heating source here, for example. Some heating source is there, and we want to model. Okay, we want to model. We want to know what are the flow fields here. Flow fields inside the this room. Okay, so we want to know flow fields inside the room. Okay, flow fields means like U, V, W. Okay, pressure, E.
Sir, are you sharing the slides?
Yeah, I'm sharing. Isn't not coming?
But we are not unable to see, sir. I think you didn't give the share option.
Okay, I think that escape option. Just a minute. Okay. Now is it coming?
Yes, sir, it is coming.
Oh. So okay, so let's say this is a room. Okay, if this is a straight line. There will be little delay in the. So we have a room here, okay, and inside the room there is a heat source. Okay, there is some heating going on here. Some heat flux is there, and we want to know the flow field. Okay, so we want to know the flow field inside the room. And what does it mean by the flow field? That we would like to know certain properties such as U component, V component, W component of the velocity, pressure, density, or temperature, or any other scalar. Any other scalar means which is not a vector quantity, like the species mass fraction. Temperature is also a scalar, and any other electric potential, for example, such a kind of scalar quantity. Many other like that. So this we want to know in this field, okay, the field of this rule. So field of this rule at each and every point, at each and every point. Okay, what are these points? Each and every points. This means these are mathematical points. Okay, and to have these definitions at those mathematical points, we had in fluid dynamics or fluid mechanics a continuum assumption. Okay, we made a continuum assumption so that we can consider a fluid particle, and we can get the properties such as density, pressure, or at every point. And these points are so close that flow is looking like a continuous flow. Continuum means it is a continuous flow. They are points, but they are continuous. So each and every point we would like to know what are the values of these flow rates. Okay, that is the purpose. Now the question is, how can we get this? How we can obtain U, V, W, P, Y? How we can obtain all this? Okay. So in fluid mechanics or dynamics, in fluid mechanics we have learned certain techniques to do it. Okay. So one of the techniques was experimentation. Okay. Suppose you want to know. Suppose you want to know at this point what is the value of velocity. Then what you can do is you can put a pitot tube and or hot wire anemometer to get the values of the UV W component at this point. Similarly, you can put a pressure gauge here and get the values of pressure. You can put a thermocouple here and get the values of temperature there. Okay. But if you would like to do the measurements throughout the domain, okay. So since this flow is a continuum flow, continuous flow, there are many particles, many points. So getting very close kind of regions may not be possible with the experimental. Okay. So experiments become very expensive, very expensive for getting complete flow field data. Expensive for getting complete flow field data. And some of the times, for example, if you have a very complicated situation, then in those cases, you will not be even able to insert the devices in the domain and get the values. So those will become I mean, in those cases, it will become very restrictive. Say, for example, if you want to consider, if you want to measure how much amount of nuclear reactants are, getting released in that area. So to get the values of the nuclear reactant, you do not have any device to get those values. I mean, in those situations, putting those device may create another risk to the experimenter. So in such cases where the experimentations becomes very complicated, very expensive, and also in such situations where the experimental devices cannot give you the flow field data, we have some other techniques. Some other techniques like whatever you learned in your fluid dynamics. For example, most of the people know that those are called as analytical techniques. Analytical techniques such as Analytical techniques means all these mathematical methods to solve the governing equations of the flow. Okay. Now, say for example, you know that you have this equation, for example, potential flow equation. You know that how to solve this analytically. Okay. And we did all this. So, in those who have learned fluid mechanics, they also might be knowing that they use Bernoulli's equation very often. Okay, so Bernoulli's equation they have used very often. So, all what were those? So, all those were analytical methods to get the values of pressure, velocity at various locations. Okay, and those were in case of Bernoulli's equation, for example, they were not used to give you the local value. Local value means what is the value at this location? No, they used to give the average value. Maybe what is the value at V1 entry location 1 and some exit location 2, like that. So those will be average velocity at the inlet and average velocity at the outlet. So such restrictions are also there with the simple analytical method. Now here this is a potential equation, Laplace equation. We know that we have used the separation of variable method and all this to get such solutions of this method, such a problem. Okay, so here things become very easy. Once you have a very nice problem which is of nature, elliptic nature, then we have very simple solutions and separation of variable method can be used. These equations are called as linear equations. Okay, so most of these equations are linear equations. So we could use some sort of separation of variable method. Okay, so any solution can be solution 1 can be a sum of solution 1 plus solution 2, solution 3, solution 2 would give you a final solution. Okay, so that was the idea. So that is how in a linear problem we can get the solution and we can add up them and finally we can get the final solution. That is the flexibility in linear problem. Okay. But what happens if you look at this problem of the room, then this problem of the room is so complicated that you cannot have this simple relationship like del square phi. Okay. So, and those equations, those are non-linear. Okay. Those are non-linear in nature. In nature. So, the analytical methods implies that the analytical methods are not the analytical methods are not suitable. Okay, they are unsuitable. They are not suitable to solve the problem. So, what is the solution? The solution to solve this all these non-linear governing equation is a computational fluid dynamics. Okay. Now the question comes: what are these equations which we are saying, which are called as governing equations? Okay, governing equations. What are these governing equations of the fluid flow? Anybody? Anybody have any idea? What are these governing equations? How I can get the values of U, V, W, P, and any other scalar? Okay. So to get this, we need to have some basics. We need to have some guiding principle which can give us these values. Okay, those are called as governing equations. And how these governing equations can be found? Okay. So something which will have a unique property. Okay. So those are called something which will have a unique property such as which is observed and found to be true. Okay. So those are called as axioms. Axioms are certain things which are observed and never found to be violated. Say, for example, it is found that there is a conservation of mass. Okay, whenever there is a fluid system, conservation of mass is observed. Okay, so unless there is a nuclear reaction happening and relativistic phenomena are not considered, then it is found that whatever the mass is there, there is no there is mass is conserved. Okay, so whatever mass is there in, it should go out. There should be a balance of the mass. Okay, so this economic part is there, which is found to be true, and it is used in order to model this flow. Next thing which is also found is that the momentum. Okay, momentum is also found to be, so we say that conservation of mass and conservation of momentum. Okay, so conservation of mass and conservation of momentum, this axiom gives you governing equation. Okay, if you want to solve any other variable, say phi variable, then you need another conservation of that phi. Okay, relate to some property related to phi. So here momentum was a property related to the velocity. Phi, some property here may be energy related to temperature. Some may be for the species related to the species mass fraction. Like that, there will be certain conservation. So this applying this conservation principles, we can essentially land up to the what are the governing equations of this fluid flow. Okay, inside what are the fluid is there inside this room. Okay, and those equations we know now that those are called as Navier-Stokes equation. You heard that, right? Navier-Stokes equation. Are you getting this? Okay. So these governing equations are called as Navier-Stokes equation. Okay. So and to derive this conservation of mass and momentum equation, we resort to the principle of our calculus. We consider infinitesimally small element, and we use control volume method. Okay, or this open system concept in order to get the equation in the Eulerian form. Or you can consider a certain mass here and integrate, get the integral form of the equation. Okay, having the control volume approach or infinitesimally small element, infinitesimally small cuboid or some sort of small element. Okay, infinitesimally very small, such a way that you can get the equations either in the PT partial differential equations or integral equation. Okay, integral equation. So this is the philosophy behind how we get the equation. Okay. Now once we get this equation, what do we do with this equation? We solve this equation using CFD. Okay, and that is what this whole course is about. Where we are going to see how we are going to use different principles to solve this problem. Now, in this case of a room problem, in the case of this room problem, now we know that for any fluid, we got some equation: conservation of mass, momentum, and energy. Okay, let's say. Now energy equation itself, now with including energy also, people are calling this Navier-Stokes equation. Okay, so we have all these equations. Now, when we solve these equations, we need a boundary condition. Okay, so when you say that I want to solve the Navier-Stokes equation, I want to get the flow field inside this room. It means that you want to solve Navier-Stokes equations, with restricted to this domain, with respect to these boundaries. How many boundaries of this domain you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 boundaries are there. Okay. Now these boundaries can be different types of boundaries. Okay. So this boundary conditions plus this equation, these governing equations, these will essentially give you a certain problem. Okay. Whenever we say a problem means essentially the governing equations plus boundary conditions. So boundary conditions are what are the conditions are there on these boundaries, which are binding the particular problem, which are containing the particular problem. Okay. So this will be called as a problem. Okay. Suppose we have any other geometry and some other conditions, then this problem will be different than this problem. Okay. How it will be different? Governing equations will be same. Okay. Governing equations will be same. Either they can be 1D, 2D or like that, but governing equations will be same. There will be Navier-Stokes equation, but boundary conditions may be different. Okay. So this problem 1 is different than the problem 2 in terms of their boundary conditions. It is very important to know that how first problem is different than the second problem is different than the any other problem in the world. Okay. So any problem is you should have a governing equation, you should have a boundary condition. These two things makes a complete set of a problem. Any problem we want to tackle. Okay. So, having said that, we move to the something which is now we have said that all these governing equations are there, okay. And these governing equations have a particular form, and they are called as partial differential equations. Okay. They are called as partial differential equation. Okay. Simply P P E. Now, question is, what do you mean by partial differential equation? Suppose I write our equation del 2t del x2 plus del 2t del y2 equals to 0. Is this a partial differential equation? Is this a PDE? Is this a PDE? Yes, it is a PDE. What about this equation? Is this a PDE? Is this a PDE? Anybody? Azu? Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Is this a PDE?
Yes, sir. It's a PD.
Okay. This is not a PDE. Okay. The reason is whenever you have a PDE, your this dependent variable, okay, dependent variable should be function of more than two independent variables. More than two independent variables should be there. More than two independent variables. Okay. So say for example here t is a function of x and y. So more than 2 and 2 and more than 2. Here t is a function of x only in this second case. So this is not a PDE. So essentially this particular form should have been written in a ODE form. d2t dx2 plus dt by dx equals to 0. This should be a form. Okay, so any PD is called as a PD when we have a dependent variable as a function of more than two and more than two independent variables. Then only any equation we can say it as a PD. Okay, so that's a take home. So in fluid mechanics, what are different PDs we come across? Okay, that we are going to see. Okay. So what are the various PDEs we come across in fluid mechanics and heat transfer. I will just write HT. So we know that we already have studied heat transfer. Okay. So what are the equations? So we had a 1D equation. Okay. So like P2 dx2. Okay. So this is 1D steady state. Okay. One dimensional steady state equation. Okay. What other equations? We have another 1D variation and unsteady. So there you can have del T plus uh, equals to del 2T, del x2. Okay, and you can have some coefficient here. Okay, so this is a 1D variation for unsteady equation. Okay, now 2D unsteady. We have seen 2D unsteady also. So del T small t time that alpha, then you can have del 2T, del x2 plus del 2T, del y. Okay, so this is the capital T. This is the 2D version of the equation. Okay, and we can go like that. Okay, so these are the different varieties of equations we using, and all these are now all these are equations we need to solve. For suppose for temperature variation in 1D problem, conduction, for example, this is a conduction. This is also conduction equation. So this term is a diffusion part. Okay, basically essentially diffusion, how the conduction takes place, and this part is temporal variation. So this is like transient term. Okay, how temperature varies with respect to time. This is the transient term, and this is the diffusion term. And these are the properties. What about fluid mechanics or fluid dynamics? In fluid dynamics, we have come across with. So let us connect this heat transfer. For example, fluid mechanics comes in heat transfer. For example, then in that case, we can have equation of this form. So maybe del T, del small t plus U del T del X plus V del T del Y plus W del T del Z equals to alpha and del 2T del x2 plus del 2T del y2 plus del 2T del z2. So this equation we can get. Now this is also heat transfer equation, but here is a convection term. Okay, and convection term is motion, fluid motion. So fluid mechanics comes here with velocity u, v, w. Fluid mechanics comes here. So this is a convection part. Okay, and this is the diffusion part. Diffusion part, and this is the transient part. Okay, this is the transient part. What are other equations in fluid mechanics? We come across with continuity of mass, for example, incompressible flow. Incompressible flow. In case of incompressible flow, what is the continuity equation? Continuity equation is del U by del X plus del V by del Y plus del W by del Z equals to 0. Okay, variation of U component of the velocity in its direction, velocity of variation of the V velocity in the Y direction, and velocity variation of W component velocity in the G direction. Okay, so mass has to be conserved. So this gradient del U by del X shows how much mass is going in X, how much mass is going in Y direction, how much mass is going in V direction, and all the sum of all these masses should become 0. That is what we say conservation of mass. Now, this is the one equation. How many equations are there? There are only one equation. And how many unknowns are there? How many unknowns are there? There are 3 unknowns. Now, the question is, can we solve this equation? Can we solve this equation with one equation and 3 unknowns? From mathematics, we know that this problem is not solvable. Okay? We cannot solve for 3 variables with using one equation. If we have a 3 variables, then we should have 3 equations. Then only you can calculate, you can solve the equation. Okay. So this is not possible. But for a special cases like potential flow, we can solve this problem by defining velocities and velocity components v, v, w in terms of some sort of potential. So we can define some sort of potential. Then you can define u in terms of potential function. Okay, in velocity. I'm now writing v as a vector. So we can express u in terms of some gradient of phi, and finally you can get the potential flow equation del square phi. And you see that this was the linear case and it was solvable and solved using some method. Now, so we have 3 unknowns and one equation. So essentially we need some more equations. So those some more equations, those are coming from conservation of momentum. Okay. Now you got the answer that why do we need conservation of mass and momentum? Conservation of mass equation is not sufficient to solve get the all the components of the velocity. So we need another. So that is called as then complete state is called as Navier equation. Okay, so just let me write the momentum equation. What are the momentum equations? So say for example we have a x momentum. So x momentum equation looks like del u del t plus u del u del x plus v del u del y plus w del u del g equals to negative of 1 by rho of pressure del p del x plus, and you already divided by rho, so mu this will be del 2 u del x2 plus del 2 u del y2 plus del 2 u del z. Okay, this is x momentum equation. What is y momentum equation? Y momentum equation is also similar, and it goes like this: del v. Now the y component of the velocity, del v del t time plus u del v del x plus v del v del y plus w del v del z is equals to minus 1 by rho del p del y plus mu del 2 v del x2 plus del 2 v del y2 plus del 2 v del. Similarly, you can write equation for g. So essentially, now we have. So let me write that also. Okay, so z moment. So that will be del w del t and u del w del x. So as a student, you should write these equations very often. Okay, so that you remember all these equations. Please make a note of this in your notebook and keep on writing these equations whenever you get a time. Keep writing all these equations so that you are comfortable to write all this. Okay. Once you remember, it is not difficult to write those equations. What difficulty arises with the students is that knowing the physical significance of all these terms. So here we have a transient term, we have a convection, okay, and we have the pressure term, and we have the diffusion term. Okay. So here you see, whenever there is a gradient, the flow and this product, you see this product. You see here this product. So this gradient is in the direction of this velocity. Okay. This gradient is in the direction of this v velocity, w velocity. It's like forcing this gradient in that direction. Okay. Forcing the momentum. Okay. In that direction. This is a change, whatever is change happening inside a domain, or for say room, for example, you have seen an example of a room. So whatever the changes happening with respect to momentum, x momentum, y momentum, and z momentum with respect to time, how the momentum is changing with respect to time, how the convection of momentum is happening inside the room, how the pressure is changing inside the room, how the diffusion of the momentum is taking place. Okay. So how the momentum is taking place on the molecular level. Okay. And this convection is at bulk level. Okay, that you know from your reaction convection, post convection part. Okay, post convection. This is essentially a post convection. U is a forcing agent here. Okay. Okay, so we have now this complete set of equations. Okay, so let me write here again that del u del x plus del v del y plus del w del g. Now we have 4 equations. Okay. Number 3, this is number 2, and this is number 1. Okay. Now, how many variables are there? How many variables are there? U, E, W, and pressure. Okay. So we have 4 variables and 4 equations. 4 unknowns, number of unknowns, and 4 equations. Okay. So this set of equations is a closed set. We can solve this equation. Okay. So this implies that these equations are solvable. Okay. Solvable to get an unique solution. Whenever we say that solution, unique solution. Okay. So what are the solution? Whenever you say solution, it should be unique solution, one and one solution. We don't want more than 2, more than 3 solution of a problem. We want unique solution, one at a time. Okay. And there are certain other properties which has to be followed by the solution. So we need to solve all these equations 1, 2, 3, 4 in order to get the velocity fields U, V, W, and pressure. Okay. So we want to solve this in, say, for example, we already said in that root domain, for example. So this governing equation needs to be solved. Now, suppose you want to use analytical method. You are not supposed to get solution. It's very, very difficult. Why? As we already said, that there is a non-linearity. Okay. Analytical method cannot be applicable for highly non-linear problems. Some set of problems can be solved using analytical method. Even this Navier-Stokes can be solved for very, very simple problems. Analytical solutions can be obtained for very, very simple problems, which will be essentially linear. But suppose non-linearity is there. So here comes the non-linearity in this momentum equation. So this term, say for example this term. Okay. Whenever there is a product of the dependent variable and its gradient, okay, either u square, u and u like that, multiplication of u with u, or you can have a u and multiplication of gradient of that u. If you having such a terms there, or gradient terms, okay, multiplication of two gradient terms, del u del x by del u del x multiplied by del u del x. In such cases, these terms are called as non-linear term. So here you see, this is a non-linear term. 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 Here also some non-linearity terms is there, but this is a strong non-linearity. Okay. So since these equations are non-linear, we have to resort to the CFD. Okay. Suppose, for example, even if this linear problems are there and we want to get the solution here, okay. Suppose we assume that there is a method, analytical method, which can give you a solution over the domain. Okay. So this solution means u. Now I am writing in a vector form. U will be a solution vector, and this. So that will be like this. Okay, it means that u is a solution of function of x y z. V is a function of x y z, and w is a function of x y z. Okay. Now this u, v, and w values, they are at all the points. Whenever you say that the solution of this momentum equation, this is the solution of the momentum equation. Okay. All this equation number 1 to 4, this is the solution. This is the solution. This is the solution of the momentum equation. Okay. This is the solution. Now this solution is at all the points. and those are continuous. Okay, remember, these solutions are all at continuous points. Okay, in throughout the domain. In throughout the domain. Okay, so whenever we apply analytical method and get the solution, we apply the solution throughout the domain and each and every point. But when we use CFD, we do not get solution at each and every point, continuous points. Okay, we get the solutions which are called as discrete solutions at discrete points, discrete solution. Okay, it means that we get solution at certain points, discrete points. Okay, or we can say nodes or cell centers of the domain. So what we do is to get the discrete solution, we divide this domain into small domains. Okay, this is called as grid generation. Okay, you see now this grid is generated. So we divide a domain into very small domains, subdomains. Okay, and we get the solution in the small domains first. Now get the solution here, get the solution here, get the solution in other domain, like that. We get the solution in get the other small domain. Okay, and these domains are not continuous. So that is the reason we are getting solution at this discrete location. Okay, so this is the point which you should remember. Okay, so in case of analytical methods, there is no need of division, but in case of CFD, we need to divide a domain into certain subdomains, and to divide the domain into certain subdomains, we have to generate a grid. Okay, generating a grid means dividing a domain into number of subdomains. Okay, so and solving these equations into these small subdomains and then adding them together. Okay, so then we solve for each domain and then we add them together, and finally we obtain velocity in VW for whole domain. Okay, you got the basic philosophy. Have you got the basic philosophy? Now, how to get the solution, how to discretize, how to consider a domain, those are the part of the CFD. So, in this CFD, we'll be basically focusing on solution of Navier-Stokes equation. This Navier-Stokes equation, that is what we are saying. Okay, so this CFD course will be discussing about solutions of Navier-Stokes equation. Navier-Stokes equation. Okay, so this is whole of the course, and this course will have a test 1, test 2, and we will have a end semester exam, and there will be assignments. Okay, so there will be 2 assignments. Okay, and all the project assignments. Projects. So there will be one project where you will do some tutorial problems using Fluent or commercial software, and second will be you will pick up some paper, journal paper, and you will just mimic it. Okay, you will reproduce the results. So this will help you in your thesis. Maybe you are considering in your final year, or maybe you are completing also. So there it will be helpful how to use the Fluent software, for example. So we'll be focusing on Fluent only right now. Fluent, ANSYS Fluent. Okay. Weightage of this test 1, test 2, end semester that I will tell you later on. Now there is no common consensus, but the assignment 1 and 2, this will be a part 1 and part 2. So you can say half of the semester we will be considering project 1, and half of the semester we can consider project 2. Like that. And test 1, test 2, and end semester exam dates are already made available to you, and we will go according to that. Okay. And grading policy will be, either relative or absolute. So that also let you know. There is no much difference between absolute and relative grading, but yeah, I'll let you know. You have been given a feedback form there. If you want something to be added in this course or some content you want to suggest in this course, you are welcome to write the feedback in that sense. Okay, and it is expected that you give some importance to the assignments and whatever the course is being taught to you. Otherwise, you will learn only C, F, and D rather than knowing anything and land up getting C grade, F grade, and B grade. Okay, so I don't want such a situation to happen. Uh, okay, I'm just going to have an attendance right now, or I will try to share the. I'll share the password otherwise. You can take your attendance. Just a minute. You have any other class now? Yeah, no? My system. Maybe I'll try with. I hope you have received.
Sir? Sir, link is not active.
Okay, then what I'll do is I'll just call. I don't know. Allowed to see. Huh?
Sir, we cannot hear you. Can
I'll
you
just
come
call.
again?
Yeah. I will just call by name and I will put the attendance. That is what I'm saying. Is it okay?
Okay, sir. From next class, then it will take lot
Yeah.
of time.
Next class. Yeah. So I'll make arrangement for that. No worries. So with Chakravarti, Vishal is there. Vishal. Vishal is not there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This will be time consuming. Joseph, Rohan, Joseph, absent. Rohan,
Sir, sir,
Sir,
Rohan,
sir,
Rohan present. Yeah.
sir, WebEx meeting has some attendance, right? WebEx meeting itself notes attendance.
Itself has attendance, but I wanted to put on this attendance thing. Okay, we'll end up. Oh, I'll get that. Okay, leave it. Okay, thank you for the class. Okay, we'll stop here. Any suggestions or anything is there? The feedback form you can fill and let me know. Okay. Okay. I'm ending. Okay. Bye bye.